Hey!
Hey!
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, guys!
We are Nerd Herd Live, and we are back for our first official episode of 2023, which still sounds weird because I am still actively dating everything 2022, or for some weird reason 2021, which I've also been doing this week.
Or 2020, because that's what
I've done 2020 in more than one.
It's year number 3 of 2020, let's face it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
Well, let's kick it off with introductions. I am Emma Loggins of fanbolt.com. Robert, take it away.
Robert with 3F by Space.
I'm Matt Rodriguez with Shakefire.
And I'm Jen Steele, also with fanbolt.com.
Awesome. Well, we are going to try out a little bit of a different format today, and if it works well, maybe we'll keep doing it. So we wanted to bring some entertainment news into the show and kind of just highlight each of us kind of picking a story that stuck out to us in the last week or so that we think is worthy of discussion. So that being said, Jen, do you want to start us out?
Oh, heavens. Okay, sure. Why not? Mine's a little niche, but you did say what stuck out to me.
Yes.
So Disney has actually released, done a press release a bit of a lot of changes coming up for both the parks and Disney Plus, rolling back a lot of what Bob Chapek had done. Now that Iger is back in the power seat. So for one, they're reinstating free ride picks, which is awesome. If you've got a ticket, your ride picks are free.
Nice.
They're also reinstating free parking at the resorts. You used to have to pay to park at the hotels. Don't have to do that anymore, which is amazing. Everyone was super pissed about that. And for APs, which currently I'm the only one here in the group, but I'm still working on it. They are removing the reservation requirements if you're planning on going to a park after 2 p.m. So you don't have to burn a reservation on your arrival day, essentially. So We're seeing a lot of positive changes that we were all really hoping for with Iger back in the seat. So
Nice.
yay.
Is it true from what I also heard that some of the general ticket prices are going down as well?
They are in Disneyland. That's not really affecting us here on this coast just yet. Also that I just heard out, and Emma, you better love me, because if the timing on this works out wrong, I'm going to be so mad. The Tron coaster is opening on April 4th. So we have an official opening day for the Tron coaster at the Magic Kingdom. Finally, that's been under construction for a number of years now, actually. And so we should be seeing, they've already said we'll be seeing annual pass holder previews, cast member previews, and Disney Vacation Club previews.
Is that the one that's like in Japan, I think?
It's in Hong Kong.
Like Hong Kong.
Or Shanghai.
Somewhere.
Hong Kong or Shanghai.
I remember I've seen like a video of them going on the ride and stuff, and it looks insane.
Yeah, it is. It is a super awesome ride. I think it's in Hong Kong.
Okay.
And it is amazing. It's got the same kind of ride vehicle style as Flights of Passage, so you kind of feel like you're on a bike, essentially, on a life cycle. But it's they're all attached in a chain going through the coaster.
Ooh.
I cannot wait. I have been waiting for this ride for at least 3 years at this point, because it was under construction before COVID started.
I just want to watch Jen ride the ride.
I mean,
just to see her expressions.
The happiness that she has.
That's what makes me happy.
Well, but you know what? Now, if they're taking pictures on the ride, we'll get them for free.
Hey.
And Jen and I will be there this time next week. So
We will.
Stay tuned for pictures of Jen and I on rides.
Nice.
On rides, drinking,
All the things.
Corn.
all the things. The corn from Animal Kingdom. And I'm going to do my very level best to get us into Space 220 at Epcot. So 10 forward. I'm so excited.
Are they, implied that you are still working on us to get more annual pass holders in the group. Are they available yet?
Not yet. We're hoping for an announcement on that in the coming month or so.
Okay.
some of the rumors were that it was going to be coming up just after this weekend, after the marathon weekend, which is another big draw. It could be coming out anytime soon. Frankly, Disney is going into celebrating their 100th anniversary, so we're looking for a lot of cool stuff coming out of that too.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool beans. Let's Matt, what do you got for us?
Mine is, speaking of Disney, the new Ant-Man Quantumania trailer came out this week.
It did.
And
Yeah, it did.
it looks really good. It really showed off Kang and Jonathan Majors as Kang. And he looks really menacing, and like he's supposed to be the next big bad of the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe after Thanos. And everything's leading up. I think 2025 is when they're going to be doing the new Avengers Kang Dynasty film. So that's going to be, I don't know how many people know about who Kang is, and like the whole time he was first introduced in Loki.
Yep.
At the end of the first season as He Who Remains, which is like a variant of Kang. And basically it's like Kang has been kind of had his hands in the pot and affecting the way the world has been working for like thousands of years. So like he's traveled back in time to Egypt and influenced them and like done all these things that people don't know about, at least in the comics version.
Mm-hmm.
And so like he's just this crazy time traveling menace. And
So
it'll be really interesting to see what they do. And we also got to see MODOK too in the trailer, which was really cool. Like a brief little appearance by him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder do we think that the non-comic readers are gonna feel lost watching this or not, given all of the callbacks to the comics?
I'll let you know.
I mean, we'll find out. I mean,
I'm in the same boat, Jen, because I've not read any of the source material.
I mean, I feel like they've done a good job. Marvel's done a good job at like changing things that need to be changed to basically kind of make it easier, not so where it's like, oh, you got to know all these obscure comics to understand what's going on and stuff. So like, I feel like they'll deliver a story that's it's definitely not going to be as complicated as the comics. That's for sure. Because I mean, we only have a handful of movies to do this in. So, but I mean, I have a feeling like I have my trust in Marvel. Like they haven't done a horrible job. I mean, their stories, especially lately. I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
there's certainly some superhero fatigue, but I mean, in terms of like story and like, non-comic book reader fans being lost, like they've always done a good job with their characters, I feel.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, they're certainly not DC. So.
No.
Well, on that note, I will hop in with my piece of news because that's a perfect segue, and then I'll throw it to Robert. Matt Reeves has confirmed that he is working on a sequel to The Batman, which is the Robert Pattinson version of Batman. He was like super coy about it, though. He spoke about it in an interview and basically said that he wasn't going to answer the question of whether or not the film was going to be shooting this year, but said that they were actively working on it. He said, "We are deep in it. My writing partner and I," which is Madison Tomlin, who is an uncredited writer on The Batman. He also hinted that Robert Pattinson would be back. So that's going to be exciting to see. It was also reported last year that Matt was developing additional movies based on Batman's Rogues Gallery. And he's already, of course, serving as an executive producer on Colin Farrell's The Penguin spinoff, which is coming in the very near future. We're also, sounds like, going to see, we're talking about these additional movies. Looks like we might be seeing something with Scarecrow and Clayface to the likes of Professor Pig. So all of these stages, according to Hollywood Reporter, are in the very early stages of development. So we'll keep an eye on that. That'll be exciting to see how that unfolds.
I think I heard or saw the headline either today or yesterday that the Penguin is going to lead directly into the Batman sequel.
That'll be awesome.
Is what I heard.
I think
Yeah.
that would make sense.
So I think Colin Farrell like either gave an interview or something and said confirmed like, oh yeah, we're getting ready to shoot that soon.
Nice.
So
All right.
I'm excited to see it. I know the Batman, while all of us here, I think for the most part, are not huge DC people just because they've not done a great job with their movies. There's a few exceptions, but I think we all really loved the Batman. Did you see that one, Jen?
Yeah.
It made my top 10. It did not make my top 10 list. It was right outside of my top 10 list.
yeah, same here.
So
Yeah.
It was on my top 10 earlier in the year,
Yeah.
and then it got knocked off.
exactly. I need to like rework mine now that I've seen the menu, which
Yes.
out back in November, and it was just really hard to get scheduled to see that. But it is now on HBO Max, so if anyone wants to check it out, it's filmed in Georgia, largely on Jekyll. So that's really cool to see.
Right neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At least where I grew up. Yeah.
it's beautifully shot. And of course, I mean, Jekyll is beautiful, so it is a beautiful movie. And it's just a really cool concept.
Yeah.
I'm still raving about it because I just watched it like last Friday. But
I
I'm
mean, I've been raving about it for months.
you have.
You have.
Yeah.
You have.
November.
Go,
You definitely have.
yeah.
Robert, I'll throw it to you.
So mine's going to be more on the TV side of things. So Netflix has been on a bit of a slaughter path lately for its original programming.
Oh my god.
That's true.
It's so many good shows between the very last 2 months of 2022 and January have gotten the axe. Some big ones have mentioned Warrior Nun, which was doing really well. Midnight Club. Resident Evil didn't get good reviews, so that was kind of expected.
I liked Resident Evil.
And
Like, I
you're not
watched
the
whole
only
thing,
person
it
to
was,
say that.
It was campy fun.
Yeah.
Like it was better than like the last handful of movies that have come out.
Yeah.
And more. And they did some really interesting things at the end of the series, the end of the season. And I'm a little bit disappointed that we won't get to see that stuff play out in future seasons. So, but
it makes you wonder too, because like with the young adult franchises have also tried to make a comeback on Netflix. So the Fate series, which was based on an animated Netflix series called Winx Club. There was
I like that one a lot.
what's that?
I like that one a lot. I never watched the original animated series.
I didn't
but
either.
I really enjoyed the live action, and I'm sad that one got the axe.
I just finished season 2 today on it.
Mhm.
I was late to getting to it, but I did enjoy it as well.
You're why it was canceled, Robert.
Damn it, Robert!
Yeah, I'm why it was canceled. But see, that's kind of
granted. I never saw it, so
right.
Your fault too.
I'm part of the problem too.
But you also look at like 1899, which was another like heavy, like mysterious show, and then a ton of their animation block, including Inside Job, was recently canceled in January as well. So I wonder whether the honeymoon period with Netflix for new series is over, because it seems like they're canceling a lot of their freshman stuff, and they've not really been public about what exactly is success to them.
Yeah.
Wednesday,
like 1899 was, that was on the number one spot for a while. I saw,
It
in
had
the
the
TV
numbers.
series and stuff, and I was seeing a lot of stuff online. People post about. That's what drew me. I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah.
Well, and also look at Wednesday. Like, it blew Stranger Things out of the water, and it took them up until last week or earlier this week to finally renew it.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
on that note, it is owned by MGM, and MGM got acquired by Amazon. So there was rumors that Wednesday might go to Amazon as a part of that deal, but
Which
that might have been cause for some of the delay in the announcement.
or look how long it took them to renew the Sandman.
Yeah.
They drug their feet on that one hard.
That's a Warner Brothers, I believe.
so
there might be more.
We're like, sure.
Like, let me Google that. No, but I
We're
mean
so
that
knowledgeable.
that goes back to the whole, when you're securing the rights and the licensing to it, there's got to be thought processes brought in for all those type of things, because there are a lot of mergers happening right now.
Yeah.
Discovery Plus was part of that Warner Brothers, merger that was taking place. HBO is changing up their whole streaming service from Max to dropping the Max and changing its name and dropping. I think it was HBO or Paramount. I think it was, or maybe Peacock. I've lost track.
There's so many.
There's too many.
Somebody just dropped over 300 Looney Tunes. It might have been Peacock.
Or I think that might have been HBO.
I thought it was HBO.
Who knows
Warner
what those
Brothers.
things?
Yeah,
Warner Brothers.
they had.
They just cut all the episodes off their streaming service, which is interesting and makes you wonder where it's going to go. But it is interesting, and Netflix, I
or
guess
if it's going to go anywhere, because that's what a lot of people are. A lot of animators and a lot of people who worked on these smaller productions, sometimes they'll get their seasons just cut and removed from HBO, and they don't get put anywhere else. So they're essentially gone forever.
Well, and that's the part that's where the days of like, oh, I'm excited because Netflix has it and they've got more money and it's going to do better because it's not network television. Like, that safety net is gone.
Yeah.
And it's clear that, these streaming services are going to have to come up with a new way to measure what success is, because at the rate that Netflix is going, they're not going to have anything worth keeping a subscription for.
I mean, it's not. I'd say it's more we don't know how they measure success. Like,
well,
they don't tell us.
The
they don't tell us their metrics of how many people are watching. Like, they give us vague ideas.
Yeah,
but it's not like, network television where we're like, we have hard numbers and ratings and stuff. It's basically we're at the whim of whatever the studio, whatever the streaming service is telling us, which could be anything.
Yeah. Well, and their marketing's been super inconsistent with some of these series too, right? Some of these things that we've dropped, and then 3 months later when we hear it's canceled, we're like, we didn't even know that it dropped. So the question of and the question of how they market and partner with the production companies to market these shows really comes into question. And Netflix is far from the only place having some turmoil in leadership and how they spend money. I mean, again, let's look at Warner Brothers and everything that's going on there. So it feels like 2023 is going to be a real adjustment year on that front. And there's probably a lot more things that are going to get the axe here before it's all said and done.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I still feel like I'm upset over Wonder Woman 3, even though Wonder Woman 1984 was like terrible. For some reason, Wonder Woman 3 was going to be as good as the first Wonder Woman in my mind. So I was
high hopes.
There were so many things though that I was excited to see coming that James Gunn is just like completely revamping. So.
Yeah.
Well, and I remember all the fuss over the you're going to kill me because I don't remember if it was Batgirl or Batwoman. Batgirl.
Yeah.
I was dying to see that. Barbara Gordon has always been one of my favorite DC characters. Yeah. And I hate with a fiery passion that we didn't get to see that movie.
No.
And the sad part is that it lives somewhere completed.
Yeah, it exists.
Completed.
It's done.
I remember back in the day of it was like, I don't know if it was LimeWire. I want to say it was like LimeWire or Napster or something.
Wow.
When they would drop, like the networks would somehow like the pilots, these unaired pilots would like leak onto like these services. Yeah. And I remember there were a few that I watched that never got up off the ground. There was one with Rachel Lee Cook, Fearless, that was based on the book series. And I actually really liked the pilot, and it just like never got picked up. And I feel like there should be a place that these, at least the pilots or like these, they should do something.
Yeah, like Misfit Toys.
Right?
I mean, yeah, sometimes they leak. Like, I know there's the pilot of the US version for the IT Crowd. They did that.
Yeah, but I heard that did not.
No, it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. But like,
As someone who
that,
adores
like-
the IT crowd.
oh yeah, same here. But that's I think it's on YouTube. Somebody had uploaded it to YouTube or whatever. But like, you know, to see these pilots, or like I want to see the original Game of Thrones pilot that was shot with like completely different actors, and apparently was like so terrible, like they recast pretty much everybody.
Oof.
Yeah,
That would be really interesting to see too. I know there's been a
because
few.
they hated it.
There's been a few series where they've done like some major recastings, and it's always really
Yeah.
interesting to go
Yeah.
back and like watch like what the vibe of it would have been, and it usually always feels like a very, very different show.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, on that note, let's dive into the Golden Globes, which aired on Tuesday night. I didn't even realize it was airing because
Apparently nobody else did either, because they had the worst viewing in its history.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of controversy with the Golden Globes and stuff. So
For sure.
there is.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure a
definitely.
lot of people
But it's also
either didn't watch because they didn't know, or didn't watch because they were, you know, protesting against it.
Yep.
Tuesday night is a weird night for an award. In
Yeah.
my head, they're
So-
always on Sundays.
So there
right?
was and there was a reason for that. There was a conflict with the football game, and then something
Mhm.
else that aired this recent Sunday that was like a big deal, and it got relegated to Tuesday. But yes, normally it would have been on a Sunday, but it got moved around because of the sports schedule.
It's interesting. I know not to derail us here, but I saw that next year's SAG Awards are going to be streamed on Netflix. So I wonder if we'll start getting into seeing some of these maybe make a move to the streaming platforms.
That'll be interesting.
I
I'd like
would be
that.
interesting too. And it'll be cool too, because in theory, no one should be played off, right? Because they're
Exactly.
not trying to end it in time
Yeah.
for news.
Yep.
So-
Which is one of the huge controversies about the Golden Globes this year. Like everybody was getting played off.
yeah, it was pretty excessive this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the winners. There were some. I felt like there were some surprises. Did you guys?
I
feel
know
like there were
nothing.
some surprises. You know nothing. All right.
No.
Well,
I was at a screening for Plane with Gerard Butler
Oh,
on Tuesday. So
we'll ask about
you
that
regret
later.
that?
say what? What?
You
Say what?
regret that?
I mean,
Are you allowed to say that you regret it yet?
Is embargo
No,
up?
I'm-
Can you say?
I am one of the people who would rather watch that than the Golden Globes.
That's not a high bar.
No.
Yeah,
That's not.
I mean, it's your typical Gerard Butler fanfare. So
Mhm.
okay.
if you're,
So it's like Liam Neeson but younger.
yeah.
Yeah.
Although Gerard Butler's getting up
Yeah.
there.
It's
He
not
is.
that much younger, I don't think.
I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
think he's like in his 50s, and isn't Liam Neeson like in his 70s or something?
I thought so.
Liam Neeson is not in his 70s.
Let's Google this. I think he is.
He was
I
born in
think he is.
1952. He is 70. He just turned
See?
70 last
Oh, Matt
Yes.
was right.
year. He is aged.
And
with a
how old
fine
is
line.
Gerard Butler?
Gerard Butler is 53.
Yep.
Boom.
Okay,
Wow.
so there you go. Younger.
He looks like
Boom.
he should be older. Well, in
So
terms
what's
of
the surprise? What was your biggest surprise, Emma?
my
for the
biggest
Golden Globes?
surprise. All right, let me pick a bone, and then I'll tell you my
Okay.
biggest surprise. My bone to pick is, and we've had this conversation before, I think specifically with the Oscars, but it's also Golden Globes, is this whole musical or comedy category, which is like not musicals or comedies.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
The Martian won the one year, and it's like, okay, that wasn't a musical, and I wouldn't consider that a comedy either.
Right.
No.
This year, the nominees for this category included Triangle of Sadness, which dark comedy.
Dark comedy.
Glass Onion, sure.
Yep.
Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't feel
Yeah.
like it's you would consider that a comedy?
Yeah. I would
Mom.
put that in comedy.
I mean, it's literally every genre.
It's literally every genre. But
Including comedy.
Yeah, but I mean, I would put it as comedy.
I would have put that in like the main drama category because I still feel like that is like the category you want to be in. I don't know. Banshees of how always say this wrong.
Inisherin.
Inisherin. That one, and I get that. That's a dark comedy.
That's a dark comedy, yeah.
Yeah.
The one I have a problem with is Babylon. Not a musical. There's no one singing in it. There's great music.
There's great music.
It's not a comedy.
Yeah.
Why is it like?
Yeah, I would not.
I don't know. I got to skip that one.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, I didn't get to see that one.
It's not a bad movie. It is it's a lot. Like I actually liked it.
Yeah.
It did make my top 10 list. A large part of that I think is actually the score because I love
the score is amazing.
The score is incredible.
But so John Williams scores are amazing. That doesn't make them musicals.
Exactly.
Fair point.
I think it should not have been in that category. So that was like my biggest thing.
Like who decides? Do the studios like submit it as a musical,
I think they do,
a drama or comedy or whatever, or is there some like voting?
I don't have any
group that be like, okay, this is a.
I would assume the studio's nominated in a specific category, and then there's a qualification that has to like the voting body has to approve it. I don't know.
Maybe
then it is the Golden Globe, so they just do whatever willy nilly.
Yeah,
this is true.
I'm gonna die.
Maybe Babylon took them on some fancy trip somewhere, and
Babylon was a trip.
I don't think anyone's actually written about why this happened. I'm going to do some research though. We'll circle back on this before the Oscars because I'm sure it's going to be the same thing there.
I mean, there's no musical comedy there. It's just pictures.
Just a long list of pictures. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. That's true. For me, the biggest surprise of the night is for Best Television Series Drama. Our nominees were Severance, Ozark, The Crown, Better Call Saul, and House of the Dragon. Okay, this is Ozark's last season. I thought that was like,
Better Call Saul's last season,
and too. Better Call Saul's honestly, anything but House of the Dragon, I thought had a chance, and then House of the Dragon won, and then Millie Alcock was hammered up there on that stage.
Yes,
I did see the video after of that.
She was in a very happy spot. And what is it, Emma Darcy? I don't know. I think that's how you say her last name. She looked not far behind Millie, so they were in a good spot. But in House of the Dragon, we talked about it on the show before.
It's good.
It's good.
Those are all really. I mean, they're all. I haven't seen the last season of Better Call Saul yet, but I mean, it's all really good. Those are all really good shows.
Mm-hmm.
They are all really good shows, but I just don't feel like House of the Dragon was what should have been the winner out of that.
The best of those, yeah.
Yeah, especially when you're dealing with the last seasons of shows that have been very and even Severance, which is a fantastic series and really hasn't gotten the love that it deserves for its level of creativity. I would have loved to have seen that win something, but maybe at some point.
Yeah.
Other notable winners, Best Series, Musical or Comedy, went to Abbott Elementary. I haven't watched that yet.
It's really good.
It's good.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Motion picture, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, which
animated.
I'm fine with, although again, it should have been Marcel.
It's actually interesting. I saw a lot of people were actually upset with that win. I mean, personally, that's the one that I would have voted for to win. But a lot of people thought, online anyways, that Puss in Boots should have been the one to win. And they're playing on the fact that not just the animation, but that the story was really, really good. And it's funny because earlier this week, working out, There were
Our
people.
trainer
talked about Puss in Boots as well. So I guess I'm gonna have to check out Puss in Boots and see what all the buzz is about. But I'm not upset that Pinocchio won. In that category.
We also had for Best Television Limited Series, Anthology Series, or Motion Picture Made for Television, White Lotus, which I have not started watching yet. That's the next series I'm going to start.
I've seen a couple of episodes of the first season, and it's good.
It's good.
I haven't seen the second season though.
So you like it from the get-go. It's not one of those ones that you have to like work your way into.
A little bit.
Yeah, that's not convincing me when you're.
Yeah. Robert, clarify for me. This has nothing to do with Avatar, right?
I haven't finished the first season, so.
Because I know what White Lotus is now, so just
no.
I'm just now because I am super, super, super late on this boat. Finally watching my way through Avatar: The Last Airbender. So now, like, White Lotus. Not.
I watched it for the first time last year, so I wasn't too far ahead.
Better late than never. I watched it for the first time at the end of 2021, so we're all in that boat.
I haven't watched it.
Your turn.
What else do we got here? Kevin Costner won for Yellowstone. That wasn't a big surprise to me either. Zendaya won for Euphoria. Another kind of controversial one. Evan Peters won for Dahmer. And I think this is an interesting.
I heard about this.
This is an interesting conversation because a lot of people, specifically those that either know a victim, has a victim in their family, or somehow related to the Dahmer, murders, are upset by the fact that this show even exists in the first place, much less that like Evan Peters is being rewarded for his performance in it. I have seen some of it. I haven't seen all of it. Evan Peters does a fantastically creepy job in it. So, from an acting, position or perspective, I think it's an interesting conversation. Like, should we even be making shows like this? Educating people on what happened, or should we just not be touching this kind of stuff at all? What do you guys think?
I mean, there's an obsession with serial killers, whether it's this type of, anthology, or if it's like true crime or podcasts or whatever other medium that they come in. I feel like the obsession is not a good trend that we've been on. And we've seen, without getting too off topic, considering all of the mental health concerns that we have today, these type of shows are not beneficial to the medium, in my opinion.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I appreciate something I've seen in media more often recently, in which when there is a horrific event along these lines, they make more of an effort to name the victims and not the perpetrator, in order to essentially discourage people from wanting that kind of fame or infamy.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're not going to talk about you. We're not going to mention your name. We'll talk about the people who were victims, but we're not going to talk about you.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. I think that's a very positive step.
I would agree. And I also think that there's ways that you can kind of tell stories in this space without
glorifying it. I think Blackbird is a great example of that. Apple TV Plus, what they did with Blackbird and what Paul Walter Hauser did with that character, they didn't show the murders. They didn't show, like, there was no like really like Emma.
We have lost Emma.
And we lost Emma.
Oh, there she is. Okay.
Hey.
Their lives. I feel like, am I going in and out?
Yeah. You froze for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed. I was like, what? Where did everyone go? But I think that Blackbird is a really great example of a true crime series that does it right. If you're going to make something in that genre. So
I think one of my issues with the whole true crime genre and everything is that now it seems like everybody is rushing to get something out,
Right.
and to like sell the rights or whatever, get the rights to these murders or any kind of horrific thing that happens so that they can do like a docuseries or do something. And I feel like not enough time has passed.
There's
One
a vulture
for-
mentality. Yeah.
One for people to heal and for, you know, communities to, you know, recover from this horrific event,
Mhm.
and two, to actually do the event justice and stuff. Because like a lot of times, you know, you don't learn things until years and years later.
Yeah.
Um,
Sometimes they haven't
and
even
so
gone
it's
to
like-
trial yet.
Yeah, exactly. And they think like, oh, all we can just, you know, do a little, write some little thing to put up at the end of the credits saying, you know, this is where things are now. But it's like, you need the time to do it justice if you're going to do it right.
Yeah.
That's not really Hollywood's forte.
Yeah.
to-
No.
It's really not.
No.
No.
But
Well, and the streaming services have frankly made it a bit worse, let's
Yeah.
be fair, than traditional, you know, network television and of that nature.
and we've seen that even, I don't know what you would consider like the programming, like Hulu's Dropout, which Amanda Seyfried did win for Best Actress in a Limited Series. She was fantastic in that. If you've ever seen any videos of Elizabeth Holmes and then seen her in the Dropout, like it's uncanny. But like that type of programming too, where we've seen kind of like, I mean, the whole story with what happened there was incredibly messed up too, and how many lives that were, you know, horrifically affected because of her stupidity and her ego and all of that. Not in the same space as the crime drama or the true crime, but still something that happened in real life that had a very negative impact on a lot of people that is very much still playing out. Although I do think she was actually sentenced recently.
Yeah.
But it's just like those things are what's in the zeitgeist right now, right? Like they've performed well, and Hollywood is just going to keep making as many of them as they can.
Yep. Until they start to tank. And then there'll be something new to do.
You think in that rotation, like true crime, and the rotation with like zombies and vampires and werewolves, it just goes through a cycle.
Yeah.
Are serial killers part of that? Is that?
I guess they are now.
Yeah.
And probably are now.
Ugh, I don't know how I feel about that.
Some cycles have been longer than others. Zombies was way overlived.
Yeah.
Controversial opinion, but that's me.
Very
Is
long.
it?
Robert and I have this conversation like every few months, I feel like, where we're like, where the heck are the aliens?
Yes.
That used to be part of the rotation, and it's been a hot minute.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there's going to be a new Aliens series coming out, like actual, like legit, you know, horror movie Aliens.
Yeah, like
Sigourney
aliens,
Weaver.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's stuff coming, but it's like it's been a hot minute since there's been some high profile stuff to come out.
I feel like we're already going back into vampires. We've got that Anne Rice AMC series. We've got what's the one coming out this year with Nick Cage?
Renfield.
Yeah.
Renfield.
I
Which actually,
was thinking Radagast. That was wrong.
I'm actually really looking forward to that one. So
Great
I'm not
Mouse
gonna talk
Detective.
about that one. It looks really funny.
Oh, that's Rat again.
That's right again. Radagast is Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah.
But to touch on a few more of our Golden Globe winners, what made my night, Steven Spielberg winning for Best Director.
Mhm.
And
And-
of course, The Fabelmans also winning for Best Feature Drama. So that made my little fangirl heart happy. Another thing that I think was probably a little bit of a surprise, Best Performance by an Actor in a Motion Picture Drama went to Austin Butler for Elvis. So he beat out Brendan Fraser. But I know Brendan Fraser also has a little bit of backstory with the Globes. So
That's true.
Yeah.
that's probably, it'll be interesting to see what happens at the Oscars with that. I mean, Austin Butler did a fantastic job in Elvis, so I don't think that that's not his performance didn't warrant it.
I mean, he was rightfully nominated in that category, no doubt.
Absolutely.
So, and it's unfortunate, but the reality is the Golden Globes would be petty enough to use their feud with Brendan Fraser to intentionally not give him
totally.
the nomination.
Absolutely.
But, you know, he doesn't care whether they gave it to him or not. He's been given accolades elsewhere. And he's satisfied with that, frankly.
And we love him because he's wonderful.
Exactly.
Indeed.
He
And he was in Batgirl too. God.
does the Heart of the Public.
One day we might.
One
One day.
Another fun moment from the night, Jennifer Coolidge was introducing the best performance by an actor in a supporting role, musical or comedy or drama series. They just put them all together for that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Makes total sense. She was introducing the award for that, and then she gave the Oscar.
Well, so
The Oscar goes to.
So here's the thing. She started out that whole speech in character, like her normal character. But when she was going to read the envelope, she was like out of character, and she made the slip up like so smoothly and calmly. Like it clearly wasn't a bit. Like she truly fucked it up and said Oscar because she quickly was like Golden Globe. I mean Golden Globe. So she was like, she was just totally caught off guard.
I love that, though. I also love that it was Tyler James Williams, who we know from, of course, The Walking Dead sphere. He's just a wonderful person. He won for Abbott Elementary, so it's like another sign that I need to check out Abbott Elementary.
Yeah,
It's adorable. I love it.
The one win that I liked, and I'm gonna mispronounce his name, so I apologize in advance. Ki Hu Kwan. Did I say that right?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
He played short round in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Deserved the win. The first part of his acceptance speech was to just point out how thankful he was to Steven Spielberg for everything that he did for him, and how he spent the last few decades feeling like he was a one and done after that fame. And just how he felt now realizing that wasn't the case. And so his was like the one of a few very genuine acceptance speeches, but it was just really great to see like that happen. He also happens to be really good friends with Brendan Fraser. So
yeah,
good company. Good
I
company.
think I forget where I read it, but Steven Spielberg has been thanked the most in all like film acceptance speeches. Like he's been thanked more than God. I think it's Steven Spielberg and then God in terms of like people thanking.
I would assume God would be first.
No.
You think?
I mean,
But apparently not.
I feel like, especially for our generation, so many of us, like our love for films really came from seeing a Spielberg film at a young age.
Yeah.
The early 80s had so much good Spielberg content.
For sure.
In the late 70s. But I mean, I don't know. I would probably thank him in one of my award speeches. So I guess I can't talk. That's pretty much it from the Golden Globes. There were
Angela Bassett.
Oh, Angela Bassett. That was actually a big deal. So Angela Bassett won for Black Panther. Her performance was incredible in that film. And it's also cool because it's the first, I believe this is accurate. It was the first MCU win for the Golden Globes in one of these acting categories for an MCU film. So
I think for like any
too.
kind of like award thing too, I want to say.
Well, I thought
like
Robert Downey
Jr.
had a win for Iron Man at one point. Somebody pointed
Did
out.
he?
I thought so.
I don't think for a Golden Globe.
I don't know if it was Golden Globe specifically. I think it was just in general.
MCU award wins. Let's take a quick look at this here. Accolades won. They've won a bunch of sound editing, visual effects, best hairstyling, makeup, best visual effects, best costume design. Oh, some of these are nominations. Excuse me.
Yeah. She is the first actor to earn a major award for a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Yep. For acting.
Yeah.
So that was. I even remember.
Well deserved.
Yeah, it was super well deserved.
Absolutely.
She was on my short list for that, and I think she'll probably get the Oscar for that too.
Oh, I hope so.
She was at the top of my list for best supporting actress.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's wrap that up and let's head over to our next segment of the. Wait, I'm not going to mess this up. We have 2 more segments before our main segment. Robert, give us an Avatar box office recap.
All right. So for those that watched our last show, you will recall that there were some naysayers in the crowd as to what we thought Avatar was going to be at by this point. Going into this last Sunday, the 8th, it had surpassed 1.7 billion at the box office. So my original gut of being over 1.7, it has happened. The expectation now, they're not reporting the international box office daily anymore. It's coming in once a week, but we're getting domestic daily now. It looks like it'll surpass 1.8, potentially 1.9 after the holiday weekend this weekend. Because of MLK, it's a 4-day weekend for the box office. James Cameron has already gone out on several news shows and basically said, we're in the black and I'm getting started on the sequels. So that's more or less him giving the green light. Wouldn't surprise me if his $2 billion number was a high swag because it's James Cameron and that's what he does. He's so confident in himself that there will be a 4K remastered re-release of Titanic coming to theaters this year because James Cameron, why not? So just know that that's coming. So, you know, for those that are excited for the franchise to continue, this initial investment of reaching nearly $2 billion also includes the third film, which was completely shot back to back with the second one. There's post-production and marketing costs, obviously, that still have to happen on that, but it's more or less paid for. And the industry insiders are saying that the future sequels will be significantly more cost efficient to produce, and James Cameron has acknowledged that because he doesn't have all that front-loaded investment that he has to make. So the anticipation is it's going to stay in the box office at least until the next MCU film hits in February, so a couple more weeks here, because that will likely take it over at that point when that hits. China, interesting note, China's been having a very large surge with COVID, and so movie theater attendance has suffered from that. Normally coming into the Chinese New Year period of the movie theater runs at the end of January, they typically, and Jen, you correct me if I'm wrong on this, but just from my research, they typically don't allow foreign films to premiere during the New Year's celebration. It's usually locally produced films and movies. They've made an exception and offered an extension to Avatar to continue into theaters for 3 to 4 more weeks through Chinese New Year.
It sounds right. I couldn't tell you quite one way or the other. Frankly, my Chinese New Year experience was eating a lot of dumplings in a very isolated part of town.
Fair enough. But it's, you know, for a film this big to have approval in China, number one, and an extension is a pretty big deal. Puss in Boots was another one that got an extension, by the way. So anticipate the international numbers to continue to grow longer beyond the domestic numbers for that as well. So he's not far off of his $2 billion number. So you're getting more blue people starting in 2024.
Update the
making
ride.
a lot of
That's all I
money.
can. Update the ride.
Yes.
I heard the third one that it's going to introduce fire Navis.
I heard that.
Yes.
So I mean,
So-
it's just like Avatar.
So
yeah, the
so
Fire Nation attacks.
and just to add the level of similarity one more, okay? James Cameron confirmed that not all Na'vi are good, and that the Fire Na'vi is going to introduce bad Na'vi so that you feel more sympathetic towards the humans. Now, Fire Na'vi bad, Fire Nation, Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm just saying it's there. It's
Nickelodeon is going to sue
At this rate.
James Cameron.
Yeah. So, but
and then the next sequel series is going to be like a few hundred years down the road with a new a new Na'vi. It's
let me put it to you this way: go see both Avatars, The Last Airbender and the live action. They're both good in different ways.
The show. We're talking about the show, not the movie.
Yes. Well, yes.
Not the Avatar: The Last Airbender movie.
Let's be clear.
So about the Nickelodeon animated cartoon show.
I'm going to ask our host to set this up, but we need to have an M. Night Shyamalan episode. Just saying.
No.
Yes. Well, we are all going to be seeing the new movie that's coming out here. What is it? Knock in the Cat. What's it called?
Knock at the Cabin.
Knock at the Cabin.
Yeah. Knock at the Cabin.
So yeah, well, for that week, we'll dive into our thoughts on M. Night Shyamalan and our favorite and least favorite of his films. There's a plethora to pick from. So.
Yes,
One last note on Avatar. It currently sits in the number 7th spot of top lifetime gross. It's going to, in order to take over the 6th spot, which is currently held by Spider-Man: No Way Home, that's got 1.9 billion at the box office. So, and then after that, you get into the 2 billion or the 2 billions. A quick overview of the top 5. The original Avatar is in 1st. Avengers is in 2nd. Titanic is in 3rd. Star Wars Episode 7, Force Awakens is in 4th. And Avengers: Infinity War is in 5th. And all of those are over $2 billion, with the first Avatar being at 2.9 billion.
Yeah, and one other note on that, obviously for that Avatar number, that was more than the original release. That was with all re-releases factored in as well.
Same with Titanic and
and all
and
of those.
Avengers too.
Avatar is expected to overtake the domestic box office record of Rogue One, a Star Wars story, after this weekend, as it's within 10 million of that at the moment. So that is the next domestic rung that it's expecting to move up on.
I see what Cameron is doing, you guys. So he's got Avatar at 1st. Avengers Endgame is at 2.7. Titanic is at 2.1. He's wanting the top 3 highest grossing film spots. That's why.
Absolutely.
Well, no, I mean, that's what he did with the first Avatar, because Avengers used to be number 1 for a bit, and then they re-released Avatar.
Yep.
And it retook the top spot.
I mean, if I were him, why not?
Why not?
I know. Like, frankly, I would want that too. So I can't blame him there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we dive into our most anticipated films of 2023, let's take a moment to talk about Megan, which Matt saw.
Megan!
I think the first horror film of 2023.
The first horror film of 2023.
How did it hold up?
And usually, if you're unaware, January film releases are typically not that great. It's usually where studios like dump their crappy films and be like, here, we're going to release this in January, whatever. Nobody cares. So, but Megan is actually a really fun movie. So it's from the same writer. I don't know if any of you guys saw Malignant back in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
It was this horror possession film, but it was really wild. Like it really took off online, and like people were it's like Barbarian. I don't know if you heard about that from earlier this year, where like it just kind of had a viral, marketing campaign and everything, where just people went wild for it. And so it's the same writer as Malignant, and it is just this really weird and creepy, where it balances horror and humor in just a bizarre way. And I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. Megan herself is really creepy because it's basically an android robot doll who is paired with this human, and her objective is to like take care of this little girl and basically like, oh, like be her friend, be her best friend, and make sure no harm comes to her and stuff. And it goes beyond the point where she's killing people to protect her, and it's wild.
As
And
androids do.
exactly. And it gets into this whole uncanny valley where it's like Megan's like it's almost like I compared it to those like realistic masks that people wear sometimes, where it's like usually they're like babies, and so it's like you got a baby mask, creepy baby mask on like a normal person body, and it just looks really weird. And
Yeah.
so like that's what I compare it to, because like you can tell like it's a girl's body, like it's a regular human body, but then it's like this robotic android lifelike mask almost, and just the two of them together are very weird, and it creeps you out.
The kind of uncanny valley thing going.
Yeah, very uncanny valley. And so like I feel like that works in the film's favor and does well with the horror, but then like it just does some wild, like at one point she is singing David Guetta's Titanium song, like she burst out singing that to the little girl, and it's so weird, and it's funny, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a bizarre movie, and I definitely recommend it if like you're in one of those horror comedy moods.
Okay.
All right. Well, I have heard that kind of sentiment from everyone that has seen it, which kind of comes as a surprise to me, because I'm just a January movie, automatically write it off. But it's good to hear that there is a good
and like it already, like it was number 2 at the box office behind Avatar, and like I think it was like a $12 million budget, and it made like 30 million.
Oh, nice.
So, like
so we're going to be getting Megan too.
So yeah, we're going to be getting Megan to her. Yeah,
I think haven't they already greenlit that?
I think
heard
so.
that they were talking.
I heard that like today.
I didn't hear that it was official yet.
But I mean,
we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah. So I mean, like they did end the film with, the possibility of things to continue. So,
like any good horror film.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
They're never truly dead.
No.
Well, let's move into our most anticipated films of 2023. I'm going to throw it to Jen to start with. What are your most, you can be top 1, top 2 or 3. What are you most looking forward to?
I'll give you my top 3 in no particular order, except maybe chronologically as to when they're coming out. So I am optimistically looking forward to Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. That's coming out in March. I've been burned by D&D movies before. We all have.
Yes, we have.
Warcraft.
This is my first time. Give it to me. Let this one be good. I need this one to be good in my soul. So I'm looking forward to that one. I'm looking forward to the Marvels. That's coming out in July, I think, and I want to see Carol Danvers back out, and I want to see Kamala Khan. So I'm looking forward to how that's gonna turn out. It's Iman Vellani's big screen debut, so fingers crossed that's gonna be awesome. And then, of course, Dune 2 in November.
Yes,
that is one of mine as well.
I'm trying not to look forward to it too much because it's so far away.
Yeah, I know.
I'm really looking forward to it.
I was really hoping you were going to say Magic Mike based on our conversation, but
it's on my list. But I gave you the top 3.
Is that on yours, Emma?
No, but Jen and I had a conversation about this earlier. We really can't wait to hear yours and Robert's review of that would make our week, our month.
I assume that we're all going to be there together, and I'm really looking forward to that experience.
I'm going to record reactions.
I mean,
immediately after to share on this.
I forget what I gave the second one. I mean, the first one was decent. The first one was good.
That's right around the corner too, February 10th.
Yeah.
So
yep,
you should be getting that invite soon.
Yep,
it's going to be the Galentine's movie. I feel like
it is.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I will jump in here next before someone takes my other movie, like Jen just took me in part 2.
Yeah.
I am really looking forward to that one, though. That's going to be awesome. My other most anticipated movie is Barbie.
That sounds, that was
Oh,
cool.
nice.
I think Barbie is going to be like an amazing movie. And I think a lot of people probably have like this idea in their head of what this movie is going to be because it's Barbie. But you've got Greta Gerwig directing it. She is fantastic. She has done some great movies. Lady Bird, probably the most notable, at least my favorite of what she's done. And then, of course, the script is written by Noah Baumbach, who Marriage Story, Squid and the Whale, the pair of them together. I am so excited to see what Barbie is going to be. I don't think it's going to be anything like what we're expecting. I think it's
Even
brilliant and hysterical.
they've released a first trailer for it, and it so
trailer
caught me off
beautiful.
guard. Yeah.
Yeah.
By doing the whole 2001: A Space Odyssey opening, but with Barbie, and it was just like, oh my god, this is hilarious, and
It's
this is gonna be a
so
wild movie.
I was skeptical until I saw that. I'm like, okay, I'm sold. I'm in. Let's go.
I felt like some of the early just interviews I had seen of, Ryan Gosling promoting something else. I think it was, the Netflix movie he did last summer. When he was promoting that, people were
Gray Man.
Yeah. Gray Man. People were asking him about Barbie, and he just kept making these like really funny like Ken comments about like, I did it for the Kens of the world.
Well, remember there was a Barbie
There's a
joke
reference.
in the
There
Gray
is
Man.
a reference in the Gray Man. So I'm just really excited to see that one. It's got a great cast too. Of course, Ryan Gosling, Margot Robbie as Barbie. We've also got Helen Mirren, Kate McKinnon, Will Ferrell, Michael Cera, America Ferrera. A lot of great people in this one. So it's going to be really cool to see what they do with it. So I'm very excited for Barbie. And it's also interesting because Barbie is going to release on July 21st. So I anticipate, hold on, I'm going to check Comic-Con dates. Comic-Con 2023. I anticipate some cool Comic-Con tie-ins for this one. I'm just assuming it's going to be roughly the same time it is every year.
Yeah.
Generally, yeah.
I'm getting all of these warnings. July, San Diego. What do we got? We
Except for that one weird year that it was like 2 weeks early and everything was sucky.
Yeah, it was like very close to July 4th. But Comic-Con 2023 is going to be July 20th through 23rd. So there should be some fun Barbie action happening at Comic-Con.
Okay, that sounds brilliant, and I'm excited now.
Well,
not that I'm not always excited for Comic-Con, but
speaking of July 21st, that's my other most anticipated movie is then as well, and that is Oppenheimer.
I am really excited for
that is going in the complete opposite direction of Barbie.
Yeah, it is.
And
yeah,
so that's the whole story of Robert Oppenheimer, the man behind the atomic bomb, and it's done by Christopher Nolan, and it's got Cillian Murphy as Robert Oppenheimer. It's also got Emily Blunt, Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon, Rami Malek, Florence Pugh. Like, it's got everybody in this movie.
Star-studded cast.
And it's just like the trailers they've released, like they're very slow at releasing the trailers and stuff and being careful not to give too much away. So like you don't really, but it's looking absolutely beautiful so far. And like I read online that Christopher Nolan actually like recreated blowing up like simulated blowing up the atomic bomb.
Oh wow.
For the film. Cause like, I mean, what was it in, I think it was I think it was Tenet, where it was cheaper to blow up an actual 747 than it was to like do it with visual effects.
Visual effects.
So like that's what they did. So like here he's recreating an atomic bomb. I'm sure not on the same level, of course, but
What do
you
you
know.
hope?
But I mean, Christopher Nolan. It's Christopher Nolan. So like that alone has me hooked, and so that is definitely my most anticipated film.
That's going to be a very interesting weekend at the box office.
Right.
Barbie and Oppenheimer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
Polar
best
opposites.
double feature.
I'm betting that both of those movies do something during Super Bowl. Maybe we'll get a full trailer for that one, or maybe for Barbie too. But that seems like a prime time to.
We should be starting to get the spring and summer movie trailers coming out during some of these upcoming events.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. What about you, Robert? What is your most anticipated?
Well, I mean,
Don't say Avatar 3. Don't say Avatar 3.
no,
That's not this year.
Yeah, that's not this year anyway. So
No, usually Blonde 3 might be this year, though.
not on my list.
It's Magic Mike, isn't it?
No.
Magic Mike.
Unfortunately, you've already named two of my most anticipated. Oppenheimer was one of them. Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
Was a big fan of the original film that was back in the 80s. I like what they did with the first part. And I'm excited. You know, I know there were a lot of people who hadn't experienced the original Dune who were a little bit felt like the first one was maybe a little bit slow. And you know, I've pointed out to them things really pick up in part 2. So there's a lot coming, and the cast that they're lining up is huge. There's everyone returning, like Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Josh Brolin, Stellan Skarsgård, David Bautista, and they're bringing in people like Christopher Walken, Florence Pugh, Javier Bardem is coming back, Austin Butler. So there's a lot of like new cast coming in for new characters, star-studded. And Denis Villeneuve, if I've got his name right, is done some great stuff with the first one, so I'm excited for that. For my third, that's a tough one. I want to be optimistic about Indiana Jones, but I can't put it in my top one because I was burned really bad in the last one. So I'm gonna hope in my heart that it just goes back to the classics, but we'll see. I have zero hope about Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. That's a
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
gonna be.
Awesome.
That's
I'm
in
excited
my
about
top
that
10.
Yeah,
Are
I
you-
would.
are you-
Huh?
You don't sound too excited, Robert.
I'm not
Hesitation.
huge on the Marvel universe in general anymore.
It's kind of oversaturated.
I'm kind of burned out.
I don't know. Like the Spider-Man, like Into the Spider-Verse, felt so different and so refreshing
Yeah.
when it came out, and so like anything that has to do with that, I am all in for, regardless of what the MCU and stuff is doing.
Right. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I mean, those are kind of my top list, and I'm hesitant on a lot of the other stuff. Obviously, we will all go see Magic Mike, and we will have our fun
Yeah, we
reviews
will.
of of that. Yeah.
I'm gonna film both of you right after we see it for like first reactions, and then we'll share that on the episode.
Oh, fun!
Oh,
I think it's
fun.
gonna be good. I think we should
I love
start.
this idea.
We should start.
Take
doing
my
like
shirt off and
all of,
start
like, the
swinging it around.
rom-coms. Yes, yeah, you should. We'd get more viewers.
You're gonna have to give me like 22 more weeks of working out before I would do that. So we're not going there yet. From a comedy, I would say comedy film that forget the voice actor controversy. I'm kind of interested in seeing how the Super Mario Brothers movie turns out.
Yeah.
Because all the other characters sounded great. I liked where they were going with like what they did with the animation and the story and exploring the world. Far better than any of the live action or animated attempts of the past when it came to Mario. So
Don't hate on that live action movie.
huh?
So don't
Yeah.
hate on that live action movie.
I'm gonna hate on it. It did not age well.
I didn't say it aged well. I'm saying
Oh, it,
So
Well,
it was
I
not.
wanna-
It was not born well.
no, it was not.
part of my
I want to mention a couple of other movies that are coming out this year that maybe aren't in our top ones we're most
Well,
excited about.
Little Mermaid,
Little
live action from
Mermaid.
Disney.
Aquaman
cautiously
Lost
optimistic.
Kingdom.
Yep.
Oh, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning.
Oh
Tom
my
Cruise,
god.
Mission Impossible. Like,
Geriatric
just-
Mission Impossible. Woo!
well, no, they just released like the video a few weeks ago of him
Of his
doing like
stunt.
the stunt and all the
Yeah.
behind scenes for the stunt they did of the film, like the base jumping stuff he does, and it's absolutely insane to watch, and like nobody does it better at getting you pumped to see his films than Tom Cruise.
That's true. He
Yeah.
is something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is something.
He is,
Like
something.
despite
He is a great actor. He is a
Yeah.
great actor.
Despite everything else.
everything
Yes,
else.
despite everything else.
Quite a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
That's gonna be fun.
Film
John
John Wick
Georgia.
4.
John Wick 4.
John Wick
Yep.
4.
I don't know if anyone has seen the movie poster for the Meg 2 The Trench, but I think Robert should look that up right now.
I've never seen Meg.
I've seen Meg.
First Meg.
I did not see the first Meg, but the movie poster for the Meg 2. Hold on, I'm going to see if I can.
I'm looking it up right now.
Can you post it? I have to look it up.
It looks so good. Hold on. This is the weird thing about this. I like have to like make a PowerPoint or something to like share. I'll share my screen. Hold on.
that is Sci-Fi Channel level shit right there.
It is. It's
Is it
something
is it an
special.
orca? Is it an orca?
Oh,
No,
thank
no,
God, it's
no.
not an orca.
No.
Oh. Oh, it's got a tornado.
I know.
Yeah.
Let's share this. Share screen. Present.
I see Magneto.
Magneto.
There we go. Look at that. Look
Yeah.
at that piece of art.
That is something.
That's gonna be terrible.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
But I will go see it because
Yeah.
it's got two of my favorite things in it.
Sharks.
Rainbows and sharks. All right.
Plus.
Let me close that out.
Also, for the since we were talking about the horror genre earlier, Scream is coming out with yet another film in the series. It's going to have Jenna Ortega in it from Wednesday, and our only human character of the young cast from Avatar, Jack Champion, will also be in it as well.
There is some good stuff coming.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, Guardians 3.
There's also Napoleon, which I'm intrigued by, with Joaquin Phoenix and done by Ridley Scott. I'm intrigued by that one. That is going to be an Apple TV, Apple original film. Doesn't look like there's a release date yet, but it'll be sometime this year.
Okay.
Interesting.
Color Purple's coming out in December.
Okay.
Which the show itself, the musical is amazing.
Yeah.
So the film version is coming out in December. I'm hearing buzz about Legally Blonde 3. They don't have a release date, but they're saying late 2023. So
Okay. There's also rumors about the Ghostbusters sequel.
Yep.
That we should be getting some data on here soon. It sounded like they were just starting principal photography this year. I would be shocked if we then saw anything this year for it. Probably would hit next year, I would imagine.
I'm seeing an opening date of December 20th. So
Yeah, that's what I see as well. That seems aggressive with the way things have been lately, but who knows?
That's true.
We've also got Wonka coming out with Timothy Chalamet in the role of Willy Wonka.
There
Yeah.
seems to have
That'll
been
be
some controversy around Timothy Chalamet lately, which we can get to in a minute. Want to
What
hear
controversy?
everybody's opinion. So there was, and this was a BuzzFeed article, so let's put that into context for a moment, right? But the industry or certain people seem to be complaining at a comment that his agent made to a journalist about him not having to audition for the last 7 years for any of the films that he's gotten, and people are pointing to nepotism for him being able to not have to audition for those roles, which I find kind of hypocritical, because Call Me by Your Name was enough to catapult him to a point where he can start just getting roles.
Oh yeah,
That wasn't 7 years ago, though. That was
recent.
That was more recent.
More recent, yeah. So it just, I don't know, that it just seemed like it was out of place. Like, at what point do you consider an actor like famous enough that they shouldn't have to do an audition to get roles?
Actually, no, it was, Jesus Christ. It was 7
years ago?
Was it really?
2017.
Oh,
damn.
That's not 7 years ago. That's 6 years ago.
Oh, well, okay.
Oh, yes, Emma.
We're splitting the hairs.
That was about, I mean, they filmed it 7 years
Emma,
ago.
and Emma, we're not 40 yet. We're just 38, 39.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jen.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think there's something to be said for too. I don't know a lot about this particular topic, so this is take this with a grain of salt. But I think when you're writing a movie, sometimes you see that actor in your head that you want. And Timothy Chalamet has a very specific look, type. Like he's very good at playing certain types of characters. So I can see him like being he's unique. He's someone that I could see a writer picturing as they're writing a role.
Yeah.
So maybe it's as simple as that. I mean, he hasn't really been in any huge, aside from Dune, really any huge blockbusters, right? I mean, that horrible cannibal movie that he was just in last year, I don't think is winning any awards.
I'm not sure I put that at the top of my resume.
No.
No, not so much. But I mean, yeah, to Emma's point, at a certain point, you're seeing that audition on screen already. Like, what's the point of going into another audition if you have a strong enough body of work that people already know what you can do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually forgot.
Go ahead. He's popular right now. Everybody wants to see him in his movies.
He's a draw.
Of course. Yeah, he's a draw. So people are gonna be like, we don't need to audition. Let's put this offer to Timothy Chalamet. I'm sure he has a ton of scripts and stuff that are coming to him where it's like, here are movies that we want you for.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I forgot he was in a movie that Emma and I love to feud about. He was in Interstellar as the older brother, if you remember.
I don't remember him in that. I don't think we really knew who he was at that point.
No.
Was he really in Interstellar?
He was young Tom Cooper. He was the son.
Huh.
Yep.
We'll do the rewatch at some point.
We do. Well, we need to get Doug to watch it, obviously, and do our rewatch. But yeah, that was one of his first roles in 2014, which was a couple of years before Call Me by Your Name.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, a lot of stuff coming out in 2023.
Yep.
That there is.
Hopefully it's going to be a good year.
Hopefully.
Well, on that note, we are closing in on 1 hour and 20 minutes for our show, which is pretty standard run time for us.
Yeah, it is.
Anything else that you guys want to add? I will say that we are planning right now to be back 2 weeks from today on January 26th. We'll have more stuff to talk about. Jen and I will rave about Disney and all the things that you should do at Disney World.
I'll have an interview.
Oh, who are you interviewing?
I actually did the interview today. It's for Shrinking, the new Apple TV Plus series from Bill Lawrence, who did.
Did you interview Jason Segel?
I did not.
I would have been so mad at you if you did. I'd be like, why didn't you tell me?
True.
But yeah, I'll have an interview next week or 2 weeks from now.
Awesome. Well, we'll have a bunch of fun stuff in store, so stay tuned to our socials and we'll tease that as soon as we have a good solid lineup. But we'll run through some fun entertainment news and things that's happening in the entertainment sphere. And yeah, join us then. Any closing thoughts, guys?
No, not in particular.
Lively on share.
Oh, we're so good at this.
The year is young. We've still got a lot to see and a lot to come out and stuff that hasn't been slotted yet.
Yep.
That's what happens the first part of the year. But again, 26 is our next show. On the 31st, we'll be seeing M. Night Shyamalan's film, and we'll on our show after the next one, we'll hopefully have some things to discuss on that, and then we'll be going into the first big movie of the year with Quantumania.
And Magic Mike. Don't
And Magic
forget
Mike.
And I don't know that I would call that the biggest movie of the year, but
It's the biggest movie of the decade.
And Jen, yeah,
It is.
What?
yeah.
Oh wait, no,
I
it's
did
the Last
not
Chance
make
person.
that innuendo.
I know. I was thinking the same thing, Jen.
Oh my god.
But I didn't say it. I feel like I should get credit for that.
I love
That's
it.
what she said.
We're all so mature.
I am 40 going on 13.
Exactly. Same. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. Please feel free to leave us comments wherever you are watching this and let us know what you are most looking forward to this year so that we can be sure that we have it in our coverage that's coming up. And until then, we'll see you guys next time. I will throw it to Robert to start our sign-offs.
All right, guys, you can catch me online at Robert W. Prentice on Instagram and Twitter, and for our site, 3ifbyspace.net and 3ifbyspace on all major platforms, except for TikTok. Matt?
Oh, taking Emma's line. You can find me on Twitter at I'm Matt Rodriguez and on Instagram at Matthew M. Rodriguez, and then shakefire.net for all your other online websites.
Woohoo.
Jen.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Renlark, RENNLARK, and occasionally on fanbolt.com. Emma?
And that's me. You can find me obviously on fanbolt.com and on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Emma Loggins, Facebook and Twitter at fanbolt. And I am not on TikTok. nor will I probably ever be on TikTok. But
yeah.
Please connect with us on social media. We would love to hear from you guys. And thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you on January 26th.
Woohoo.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Mwah.